for joining us this evening. I'm actually going to give you guys a big treat. I'm doing the presentation today at our beachfront office of our CTO, Philip Smolin, and as I'm doing this, he is writing some serious code. So while, again, you have to kind of take my word for it, it is pretty cool because a lot of very exciting things are happening. Real quick question, is everyone able to hear me okay? Please answer, that way I'll just know to make sure I don't have to correct anything. Okay, fantastic. So first of all, you guys are going to get a huge treat. It's like a big candy bar that's coming later, as part of our presentation. So let's begin. Since most of you are Trade Ideas customers, Brad and I are going to kind of jump into more of the technical stuff. And because of the way this week worked out, we're going to also do like a little bit of our Trade of the Week stuff in there as well. So it's going to be kind of really a very broad presentation, and that's why we're going to spend only a short amount of time on the PowerPoint. So the disclaimer, as always, Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, and none of the information that we're presenting here tonight should be construed as investment advice. All the information that we are providing is for educational and informational purposes only. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, you can read that here really quickly in the disclaimer card. Benzinga Award, we've told you guys about that. I don't even have to repeat it, so we're just going to go really quickly to that. And most likely, all of you know that we now have charts, and we've been getting a lot of really good praise, and we've only just, again, this is our first stab at taking the charts to market, and we really like what we're seeing, and the feedback is awesome. But you have to have version 4.0 or higher to have them. So that's what this slide is about. The big thing that I'm going to be talking about today is really talking about how to make money using this stuff. How to turn your data into metadata, which is some point that you can look at that gives you insight that you might have not had before, that could be relative to which way something is going to go. Now we're going to talk about how you're going to apply this in your trading systems. So let me just go real quick to the next slide. The other part of it, which is going to be the big treat for you guys, is that as we create the metadata, and again, I've touched upon this before, but as we create these columns, they can then be later used in the odds maker and the AI, and it just helps us divvy up the market in different and better ways. So our system gets better, and you get better results as a result of having access to it. And of course, since our audience here is 50-50, we have 50% who have odds makers and 50% that don't. The odds maker, is probably the coolest tech that we have, and of course it is the premium product, the more expensive. But it's really not just about crunching numbers, it's our gateway. And we've been releasing a lot of new high-powered software recently. That's going to be one of the other things that I'm going to be showing you and discussing with you. So Scott then is going to come on and talk to you about the promotions that we have after the presentation. And of course, Brad and I are also going to be answering questions afterwards. And Brad, do you have audio on today?
I do. Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, no, and you sound great. So Brad and I will also discuss things. Please, Brad, if I'm babbling, as you know I tend to, with the view of Phil's office being as awesome as it is of the Pacific, it kind of takes my breath away and makes me babble a little bit, So you might have to keep me on track.
All right, let's move it.
Let's do it. Okay. So I'm minimizing the window and kind of showcasing my layout. This is one of the ones that I use. And what we're talking about here for me is, since most of you already have this tech, we're kind of past the high level that, you can surf around on channels. Although I do want to show you guys, if you refresh your toolbar, you will see that there is now a channel for the artificial intelligence channel that's coming. Okay, and if you click on it, this is what you get. So you kind of get an idea that we're, taking steps, getting closer and closer, and things are progressing to what we really believe is going to be completely a paradigm shift in how investors approach, allocating capital. Okay. All of the stuff that you see here, the beautiful colors, the way we structure the data, the way that we let you view it and sort it back and forth by relevant, components, the way that color is designed to pop out so that you can see multiple things at once. You have to kind of appreciate that everything that we do here visually, the computers are able to do mathematically. And they're doing that all the time when we're creating the kind of systems that we create to capture alpha. So one of the things that I'm going to point out real quick is VBLT. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because this is all everything's coming together. For those of you that are not aware, and most of you probably are, we have what's called the trade of the week, where we have an algorithm that seeks out what we believe is a good opportunity as a showcase for what our technology does in finding either continuation to the upside or reversals. And the idea here behind the trade of the week is to kind of show you for free what our software thinks is interesting, what it's good, and it's designed to be profitable. And this was a beautiful example where not only were we right, and by the way, nothing's ever always right, but it is about being good, and when you're good, being good in the way that really counts, okay? And so here, it's very easy to see that all of a sudden this company, VBLT, started to trade up on this day, on the 18th, on pretty high volume, and then continued the next day on high volume, and then the next day on very high volume. But that wasn't just how we caught it. We caught it before then because of the efficiency with which it was moving. And by efficiency, this is the one thing that we've really been kind of talking about as a theme of several different Q&A sessions and webinars, where we're trying to use kind of human terms where you can understand that, when you invest in a stock, you put your money to work, your $1,000, your $500, your $10,000, $10 million. And the question is, well, what effect does that money have on the behavior of the stock? Okay, so in terms of efficiency, we're trying to see, well, which stock is moving up the most with the least amount of pressure. That means, conversely, that there's no sellers out there. They can't find stock to sell. Okay, and so using that, the algorithm that we design, I've kind of put it into like 3 component parts a little bit. So there's the large cap version of this, which again is looking for efficiency in some of the bigger stocks. And not all of these are the kind of candidates that necessarily would be trade of the week algo type candidates, but here's an example of one that's definitely on our radar, CFMS, because of the way this came out and stayed strong for this relative period of time and was this efficient in terms of the money. Okay, so it didn't take that much to make this movement happen. So these are the kind of plays that we think are the next evolution of things that are the more interesting plays to trade, because when you realize how difficult it is to move an Intel or a Microsoft or a Cisco Systems or a Bank of America or a Ford, you then start to understand why, the evolution of capturing alpha is constantly shifts, and that's just not where the most of alpha is hiding. It's hiding in these types of names, where you can go from a price of 13 to 18 in a 1, 2, 3, 4, in a 5-day period. This is, Brad, you and I, we've talked about this a lot, that people sometimes they bunch these things into maybe this concept of, oh, this is just penny stocks or stuff like that. But it doesn't really make any difference to us whether it's penny stocks or not. The point is, where is there the most alpha, right?
Yeah, all of that is completely irrelevant when we're looking at this. We're looking at the filters, we're looking at the numerical data, and all of that other information is absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah. And I think it should be to investors too, and that's kind of how our computers approach this. It's just such a, to me at least, it's this beautiful way of looking at the market. And one of the things that I want to show everyone is that we've created several versions of this efficiency. We have a large cap efficiency, we have a small cap efficiency, and we have something that's called relative efficiency that actually our CTO helped us design. That again, just we're looking for a way to do everything at once, and we're just playing around with all of these different ways that where we can say, not just again for numbers' sake, but to see what gauge looks the most interesting to where it instantly put something out that we can kind of look at and say, hey, this is something we need to take a look at. Like notice this one on top in terms of efficiency, CFMS. I mean, this one is not that hard to find. It's number 2. This one, it had been on this list before, and it's continuing to be, but imagine having been able to catch it earlier. So to us, again, it's all about this kind of behavior where you can get into and capture these types of trends. You know, notice that with trade ideas, you often find yourself looking at and investigating symbols that you really haven't seen before or heard of, and that's the beauty of it, because that just confirms the fact that they're under researched and not that many people know about what's going on. That's why the money is so efficient. Once there's a lot of people that know what's going on, like when you're trading a Tesla or a you know, like I said before, Bank of America or any one of those types of huge liquidity stocks, it's a totally different situation. Okay, so I want to also show you guys a couple of different ways how when you're doing the research yourself, you can sort of gain some insights. And just expand this large cap list. And this also is, again, another kind of example of, you know, your eyes look at this and it's like kind of like the idea is it wants to come to life. At least that's what we were going for. We wanted to make this data like breathe, and so that you, when you look at it, you can almost feel something going on. And that's like kind of the intent to me when, like, just on this view. Notice like I see CYBR. See like how its percent of float traded kind of pops out on this particular view of efficiency. So like this, it's saying there's both things happening here. Okay, and sure enough, look at this nice little turn that seems to be happening. Again, potentially into a gap up. You know, one of the things that we're trying to do in the Q&A is not only specifically show you how to tinker with it, we also want you to be able to see these ideas yourself. You know, take some notes. Obviously, that's the other great part about being involved with us, is because we're also always looking for the best candidate. And this is how, you know, when we create data, right, this is probably like the best example. This is why, you know, we know that our tech, it's doing the right stuff. Is that, you know, when you have these views, and right here, it's kind of maybe not, I mean, these guys completely stand out, right? I mean, we see that 10%, 4%, and ran 3% the last 30 minutes. But the way it comes out with the percentage of float, which is such a significant aspect of how a stock can move, you know, when you're moving 11% of a float, of a company, that's a relatively significant float. Now let's look at this one. That's a 21 million float company. And in terms of dollar volume, you're talking about $85 million went into that, you know, that move today. That's a significant investment. That's one of the other ways that you can really use this data together to kind of gauge on the veracity of a trend. You know, if you look at the dollar volume again, look at RDUS and see what you see. You know, this turnaround that's happening right here there's some money being put into it. You can catch that by color. And I thought, Brad, I mean, do you agree that, I mean, I think this window just shows, to the more advanced users, just that all the different ways that everything is meant to stand out, like
well, I mean, it's super powerful. The one thing I don't know that you actually touched on, and maybe it's a good thing to do, is that you have a couple custom filters in here. The filters that you built yourself, and so for those of you that are looking for a particular column that doesn't exist in your software, why don't you turn it from the text header into the graphical icon, and you'll be able to see real quickly which columns here are special and customized. And he has created these with a couple of formulas, and we have a nice little document that not only gives you the ability to utilize all the filters as variables, but we've also added a couple additional variables that allow you to manipulate our data and create new forms of data, derived data, just like we do when you were talking about creating something like the relative volume or the position in the 5-minute range, things like that. So,
Brad, it's like the software is alive, and I want to tell everyone this is something that's kind of cool in my opinion, because remember, Brad, you and I were playing golf with Jamie, and he was telling us the story about a customer that he was working with in, I don't know, I think it might have been somebody in Europe, and the customer was showing him his formulas, and when Jamie looked at his formula, Jamie said he got intimidated because the formula, I think, were paragraph long. This guy, that's somebody, and we're not telling you that you have to do that at all. We're just saying that the ability to do that is there, and that's the true essence of the power. And I always like to, Brad, I joke about my aptitude as not being, math has never been my strong suit, but even you will agree that I was the one that came up with the efficiency myself.
Absolutely. I will give you all the credit in the world. You deserve it. It's a great filter. It really is a great piece of information.
Right, but and the funny thing is that what got me doing it is actually staring. I was sitting there kind of staring at the various things. I was looking at dollar volume, and really, I mean, this was my realization. I think I had something on a dollar volume sort, and I was like looking at it, and then what just started to jump out at me, right, were these guys. The guys that were a little bit bigger, like, wow, look at these, relatively larger dollar investments, in this particular list, right? But they're also moving a lot from the close. That means like you can kind of emphasize that possibly there's some oomph in the trend, at least, relatively speaking, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think friction's a good word, right?
Yeah, and I think also then now you can put it in your mind, right? Let's think about this just ourselves as adults, or pretend to be adults, which we always joke about internally. How hard is it to find $100,000? A lot of us have it. How hard is it to find $4 million? A lot harder, wouldn't you say, Brad?
Not hard.
Well, but it's harder than 100,000.
Harder than 100.
Right. I would not necessarily have $4 million to invest in ALDW, hypothetically speaking.
Personally, yes.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that as we all understand a little bit of value, like, we've seen some movie stars sell their homes for like $17 million, right? You can kind of start, I know it sounds silly, but you can start relating to what's happening in these stocks a little bit. You can now understand, like, for example, when you resort, that, and again, just on the relational side of the equation where you're looking at something a little bit interesting, you can say, okay, wow. So look at this Geron, sorry, right? $9 million was put into this thing. I mean, $9 million, it just can't be complete chump change, is what I'm saying, especially for a $3 stock. So you can imagine, without even looking at the chart, that it's possible that this completely, what's called an engulfing day, possibly, could have something in it. And those, I think, are the way that those kind of concepts and ideas are the way that we come up with new data sets and new ways to organize and read. I'm a huge fan. This is something that I do all the time. I sort and I resort, because every time I resort, like, a piece of data like something starts to stick out, you know. And again, whether it's just on efficiency, and again, this was the thing that came to me, and just how much I like. I mean, that looks like a pattern of strength, or some people would call that maybe a cup and handle or something, or at least a part of a cup. I don't like that terminology, but it certainly looks as though we're on the demand side of the equation right now versus the supply. Right?
I would agree.
Okay. Scott, why don't you come in and give everybody just a high-level overview of what we've got going on, and then Brad and I will climb back in and finish up.
Yeah, it sounds good. If you can park us on slide number 7. Just go ahead and outline what our subscription model is like. Trade Ideas is a subscription as a software service. So that means our software is on a subscription basis. Our standard subscription is a monthly subscription, which is $99 per month, and that includes all the real-time data, the exchange fees, the charting that we just launched that you see. It includes a full hour of power, one-on-one training session. It includes a trial of our backtesting tool, the Odds Maker. We also have an annual subscription, $888 recurring per year. And just like the monthly, it includes all the exchange fees, the exchange data, TI Pro charts, the training. It just saves you some money. We also have the Odds Maker license. The Odds Maker license is a one-time lifetime license, and that gets you use of the Odds Maker for whenever you're a Trade Ideas client. The Odds Maker is our backtesting tool, and it's different than a lot of backtesting tools in that it backtests the entire market, not just a little basket of stocks or a single stock. No programming required. It's very easy to use. You can easily set up another scan to try a different run within a few moments. Every Odds Maker license comes with a free customized strategy. We also sell those retail at $250 per. And it provides all the tools you need to optimize your strategies. It's actually the same tools our AI system uses. It's just our AI system is able to run through so many different parameters on its own. It can develop optimized versions of the strategies the same as you can, just much faster. And the Odds Maker is going to be required to get the AI channel and the RBI, GBI tools that we're launching, most likely still this month. I think Dan and Brad are going to come back on momentarily to take the question and answer session and have a little bit more of the presentation. But after that, I'll come and join us again and talk about the promotional code and the package, combination package we have that can save those of you that do not have the Odds Maker or subscription quite a bit of money. Thanks, guys. Dan, Brad?
Thank you, Scott. Okay, Brad, this is my favorite part. Okay. So we talked a lot about this, and I could stay here for eons. This is like my favorite stuff. Again, just talking about being able to see things in a different way. And obviously, this is just my way of customizing it. But we've got some fun stuff for you guys. Okay. So remember this window. I'm gonna save this to the cloud. So I'm closing it up. And I'm going to save this to the cloud. And I'm sure I'm saying this so that you guys can see that this is how I'm going to make sure that if you want these exact windows, I will give them to you. Okay. By the way, this is another stock that I thought started to look really interesting, just the way this little bottoming pattern started to go. So again, let me, this one I didn't modify at all. Okay, but what is exciting? So Scott had mentioned to you guys, and this is the thing that Brad and I are actually the most excited about. It's not just about, just trading for us. We're kind of technology geeks, and we don't do it for technology's sake. We say to ourselves, we're obsessed about being able to find a way to invest actively, not high frequency, but actively better than a human. And we think we have it, and you guys are going to get just a tiny glimpse of it. So here it is for the first time. in view. And again, I might have sent pictures of this to the chat room just so that you guys can see. And the idea here is, again, this is not complete by any means, but you have win percentages, everything is sortable. You can see that, so all of these numbers, these are the out-of-sample profit factors, so obviously the in-sample would have been better. You can see the side, the time frame, and of course the win percentages can all go over here. So as soon as they happen, you could see the symbol, the last signal price, see this last signal price, last signal time, and this stuff is just more ancillary information about the strategy that kind of belongs over here. And we're still we're building it. These are little blocks of clay. There's a lot more stuff coming, but tomorrow when I get into the market, this is actually filled in real time. And that's what I've been I post this to some of the people. So one of the really cool things about this is not only, so these are not, we have more strategies that the computer looks at, but it throws out the ones that it thinks are not that good. So it only plays what it believes are the best ones, and that's some combinations of these profit factors and win and number of trades, etc. So you can kind of look at this built-in consensus that the software has. Now remember, it's the software is going to be a better trader than you because it kind of trades both sides the way it wants to or should want to trade them. But it also, because we have a bank of a significant amount of strategies, and I've said this before when I showed you the web page of it, it's throwing out things that don't work, and in this case you can see that the path of least resistance, at least according to the AI, based on what it did today, is to the downside. I mean, that doesn't mean it doesn't trade the upside. It just means that there's more opportunities is what it's saying. And that's how it behaves. So you have this double component of built-in directional bias, proper bias, as well as the AI that's driving it. So this is kind of what it looks like. And like I said, tomorrow this will be filled in. Things are happening as they speak. To get this, you need to have the odds maker. So that's another very good reason to acquire it and to think about the things that Scott's showing you. But there's really another thing, and this is again why we are so pumped that we are Trade Ideas and we get to do what we do. And my CTO is here and he's smiling because again, like this really all is because this guy is a mad genius, and we're very lucky. So we're able to add technology to our software 100% faster than anybody else. But it's not just about throwing shit out there. It's about creating something that is demanded but is also good. So as you guys know, Barry Einerson, who's our chat room moderator, leader, and captain of industry, James Bond, Canadian James Bond A of trading, is always in our chat room helping. Literally, I mean, this guy has a bee on his chest, superhero type emoticon in the room because he's helping everybody by showing you how to make money as well as answering questions. And Barry has designed an alert using the new Trade Ideas technology that our CTO is bringing to life, and these are called the RBI GBIs. And the RBI GBIs is part of this whole new thing called TIQ, which is Trade Ideas Quant, that we ourselves developed to put ourselves out of business. So you guys get to see some really cool stuff. These windows, again, in the contact part of the presentation, we're going to give you all the information you need to contact us and find out more about this, and Barry can tell you more in the chat room. But the cool thing is, and again, is that they're on, and they work, and you can already do Trade Ideas stuff with them, and they have automatic entry and stop prices as well. So we believe that we're at the forefront, the apex of a new wave of innovation that we're the ones that are bringing to market for the retail investor, where the retail investor is again going to be the one with the best tools, and we're excited to do it and to show it. Brad, anything I missed? Have I already shown any proprietary stuff that I should show? Are you cringing?
No, but I don't know if you let everybody know that in order to get those TIQ RBI alerts and to have access to additional strategies that we're going to be developing through the TIQ engine, you do need to be an OddsMaker subscriber. So that's, again, just one of the other benefits for having access to the OddsMaker engine. Some of the other special windows we create.
Well, that's what I was kind of trying to say. The OddsMaker is not simply the OddsMaker. We should maybe call it the OM gateway. Or something, where it's your gateway to the higher end stuff.
But let me say this, Dan, with respect to what TIQ is, because for the layman, what TIQ is, it's really everything that TI Pro is not, from the perspective of being able to have access to data points that simply don't exist inside of TI Pro. I mean, TI Pro is super powerful, but you are limited to the filters and alerts that we have, and what we can do with TIQ is just far more powerful, and this is just a taste of what that is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've never been more excited, at all about the technology side of it, because I don't know if I have that auto-optimized web page up. Let me see if I can bring it up here, Brad. I mean, this would be a treat if I was actually able to. Let me see. Brad, where was that other one? Do you know what's the backslash on that one? The one where we're comparing all of our, doing all the clients?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but no, I'm not going to let you share that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to share it. I was just going to say that. Let me show you everyone my screen again. I was simply going to state that we're also keeping track of how the AI is trading, and it's outperforming the market considerably and outperforming the base strategies, which is basically you guessing. Every time you make it, you're guessing.
I Skyped it to you if you want it.
Well, again, I don't want to. It's okay, Brad, if you want to hide it from everybody. I understand.
No, but the point is, good stuff is coming, and we do a lot with data.
So let's do this, Brad. Let's leave the rest. I mean, for the questions, let's see if people have any specific questions to anything. Otherwise, again, we can give it off to Scott earlier. And remember, it's a Jewish holiday this evening. A lot of us have to repent for our sins. I know I do.
You have many of them. Hey, Mike, it's Chief Technology Officer, CTO.
As well, of course. The whole team.
I wanted to know what that stood for.
Okay,
right.
So Carl, so Carl, we're kind of looking at that data behind the scenes right now. That's like our internal trending, and we're definitely gonna figure out a way to display that information and have that be available. Yeah, but there's no date as of yet, Brad, right? I mean, we're looking at it ourselves, trying to figure out what we're seeing.
Yeah, no, we don't have any firm date on that right now.
Yeah, but we have it, and it is, again, pretty cool. That's again, we're just very internally data focused and externally data focused. But I'm telling you guys, the robotics that we're creating, the fact that it's a self-learning thing, it's kind of like, again, you kind of imagine if IBM at least attempted to have Watson trade the market, which of course they never, that possibly would be doing some of the same stuff that we're doing, Brad, but it would need our data.
Yeah.
Couldn't make up the data to analyze, and that's really the key here, guys, is that we have the coolest and best data that, as we showed you with that efficiency number, it keeps building on itself. That was why we talked about my CTO's office is like right at the beach.
So hey Dan, let's there was a question earlier, Shlomo. He asked, he didn't have the particular AI channel that you have. Can you show? So if you have the newest version, go ahead and show him how to refresh the channel bar.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'm going to show him white space there.
Yeah, and I'm going to show him actually both ways to do it. So first of all, let's see here. Help. About. Where did that about go? Okay, so I have Trade Ideas version 4.20, which is the one with the AI channel, which none of you will have, but that's how you know what you need. And Brad, what version does he need?
Stop bragging. Version 4.09, I think, is the one that you can get off the website. We're up to 16. We're pretty close to making that a public beta. Not quite, but we're pretty close. So just you need version 9 right now, I believe.
Okay, remind me what I'm doing.
Okay, I want you to go up to the channel bar. I'm going to show 2 different ways to refresh the channel bar.
Okay, sorry. I now remember.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
Right click.
It's late.
Okay, here's the white space in the channel bar. Right click, and you go to refresh.
Yeah,
that goes to our server.
That'll refresh it.
And it'll refresh it. Now, another way to do it is you can just close the channel bar. You go to New, and select Channel Bar, and that will also give you a completely new and refreshed screen, which will have all of the new capabilities. And again, there's not much to see yet in terms of that, but it's coming. Okay, Brad, Debbie's asking, why is there such a large difference between the profit factor in the tests of 7 or So Fantastic and Live 2, which isn't nearly as impressive? Debbie, I'm not sure I understand your question, but I'm sure if you email me, I can answer it.
Right. Chris asks if the odds maker uses tick-by-tick data to figure in the results, and the answer is yes, it does. It uses tick-by-tick data on the entry, and we use 5-minute candles on the exit.
And again, if anybody has questions that they plan on giving us, we'll have a contact part of the presentation where you can, of course, do anything you want. Okay, so Carl, great question. It's really not possible to tell from our standpoint because, again, a block trade, remember, every block trade has a buyer and a seller in it. The question is who initiated. And it's, even at the bid, it could have been a market order to hit it. So it's impossible to tell. That's the thing. There's always some unknown. I mean, there's quite a bit of it.
Hey, Dan, why don't you scroll down to the bottom of the channel bar and show everybody how you get into our trading room, which is, it's really not just a chat room. That's really underselling it. And Mike brings up a good point. We're actually taking this chat room and we're migrating it to more of a real live trading room where Barry's going to have much more control in what he communicates to everybody, and the environment will just be much more interactive. But show them how to get there. From the channel bar, you can just click on the live trading room, and it takes you into our forum, and we'll have a link to get to the new one right here, but there's going to be a lot of great stuff coming.
Yeah, you're looking at the new link.
There we are.
Am I on the right link? Yes?
Yeah, so now you have to click into it. So good, we're up and migrated over. You'll find it to be a much more efficient process.
Should I attempt to enter?
The room's not open. You can open it.
Okay, well, that answers that question.
It'll be open tomorrow morning before the market's open.
Guys, super excited. We're going to see live windows and also in Barry's beautiful face. Okay. So let me again okay. So we covered all the channel bar, and again the live trading room. It's the bottom channel. And like I said before, you click on it, it opens up your browser window, and you get in. It's super simple, and you can get in at any time. You already know about the channel surfing. We're excited. We're with you. We're innovating faster than anybody, and I think that's going to give you guys the opportunity to capture the most alpha because you're here with us right now. Brad, let's give it back up to Scott and give people a chance to get home a little early.
Sounds good.
But hopefully we've explained why you need the odds maker. So I'm putting away the AI window. You guys got to see it. And Scott, let me close this and bring back number 7.
Yeah, thanks. You can actually move it to slide number 9 there, or 8 or 9, whichever is the next one. 8.
I hit the presentation.
Sorry about that. So something we like to do to thank everyone for attending is provide you can go to the earlier slide in that, a promotional code so you can save money. There you go. There you go. And today it's QA Web 23. Some of you don't have the odds maker yet. It's a good time to get it in advance of the AI channel and the RBI GBI tools coming out. Using that code will take 30% off of the odds makers, a one-time license cost. So instead of $1,100, it's only $770. That same code will take 20% off the annual if you'd like to switch to the annual, or if you are not currently a subscriber. That'll make it only $710 for the first year. Or if you're not a subscriber yet at all, you can get in at $49 for the first month by using the code. This code will expire on Friday, by the way. And if you go to your handouts panel, on their GoToWebinar interface, you should be able to download a PDF. Hopefully that works. Sometimes these have been downloading with an error message, but it contains the same information there for you, including the product code and the link on the next slide, which is a really excellent combination package. This package will be going away when we launch the AI channel, so if you do want to get this, get it before we launch the AI channel. It's the Save 900 package. Go to that bit.ly link, bit.ly, SAVE, all capitals, 900. And that lets you get the full year of trade ideas, lifetime odds maker, and a custom strategy for only $10.88. So it saves you over $900 right away. If you're already a Trade Ideas subscriber on the monthly plan, for example, and you'd like to switch over to this to save money and get ready for the AI channel, just do this. Go ahead to that link. Sign up for it, and then shoot us an email to info@tradeideas.com letting us know you did that, and we'll make sure the billing is going to work perfectly. So thanks everyone for attending. Hopefully you can take advantage of one of these package deals or the product code to save some money if you can make use of that. We'd like to thank everyone for attending today. Any questions, email us, info@tradeideas.com, or email Brad or Dan directly, Dan@TradeIdeas, Brad@TradeIdeas. Make sure to like us on Facebook. We're Facebook/TradeIdeasPro. Follow us on Twitter, TradeIdeas1 and @TradeIdeas. Dallas, not sure about that question exactly. Email info@tradeideas.com and I'll help you out with that upgrade offline. Thanks everyone for attending. I look forward to seeing you next week.